Hi there. I am stoked about this one. We're going to do patina, but not your traditional copper and teal patina. You know I've got to throw purple in there. It's either got to be purple or rainbows, I feel like. So ignore my paint drips. I feel like that's on every single cup lately. So ignore that because we're about to paint over it. If you saw my last video, you already know that very well could backfire on me. Oh well. So we're going to use, you know what? Let's do the thicker stuff. Let's do this. This is a little bit thicker than this one. You can get actual patina paste. In fact, Jessica Flynn has a great video out. There's several great patina videos, but hers is really easy, and she's got these really great pastes. But I'm going to use acrylic because that's what I have, and I'm too cheap right now to go buy anything that I don't already have. So we are going to just all over it. Just kind of leave maybe a couple of spots to throw on our rose gold. You could use regular gold too, but I'm going to use rose gold because it's really, really pretty. So here we go. Also, I chose this base color partly because I already had it painted, but partly because I wanted that to show through with a little bit different coloring. We'll see. We'll see how it looks. Pretty much all I'm going to paint. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to do it again. Just because this isn't as thick as I need it to be, but that's okay. It's still going to work. But I like how that looks with that plum peekabooing. Get on the camera. So this, I'm just going to leave some bigger spaces for my rose gold. That's all that is. But I'm not limited to just those spaces. And then I've got some gold leaf that I'm going to use as well. I might switch to silver. We'll see. But probably gold. I really hate when things aren't working as planned. It's so dark. Why is it so dark? Probably because it's on a dark base. I don't know. But we're going to switch to this acrylic paint now. I've got 2 good coats on here. It's just not doing what it needs to be doing. So hopefully this will address that. Let's find out. I'm just going to use the same brush. I'm just going to go right back over everything I've already done. And we'll dry that and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, still not as bright as what I was hoping for, but I'm not going to sweat it. So let's go with the rose gold now. This might take a couple of layers, just like the other one did. We'll find out. I don't know if I'm going to like that. I think this might be another one of those trust the process kind of tumblers. Most of y'all already know when I make a video, it's usually the first time I've done whatever the technique is. Not always, sometimes. This is my first go at this style. We're going to see. So that was just to kind of give me an idea of how I wanted to go about that. Like I said, take a couple of layers, and I'm not married to just those spots. But I don't want to overdo it on the rose gold because we're still going to do some of the gold flake as well. Mulligan. So I put some of that rose gold in those patches that didn't have the paint, and it was hideous. It did not do what I wanted because these are not thick enough. So, lesson learned. I painted back over it, so now we're ready. I'm not worried about these little peek throughs right there, the little ghost lines. It's actually going to look cool when we're done. So, now I'm going to switch to the chip brush because I'm pretty sure I just picked up the wrong brush because I wasn't thinking. So now I'm going to do that in spaces here. Just kind of sporadic. Whatever rocks the boat. Whatever you like. If you want it to go, you know, just in the middle in one spot and top to bottom in another, do it. Whatever you like. There are no rules. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of rules, but not really. Before I make it very far, I just want to point out the difference between using this type of brush versus this type of brush. It's a completely different look. I'll show you. So that, there's like just those little streaks, right? That's the difference in that look. It's going to really make all the difference in this particular design. Okay, here we are. This one I got a little heavy-handed with, so I had to kind of touch it up with a little bit of purple kind of down the sides here, and then I kind of broke it up there. Stay on camera, good grief. So I just kind of went in between to kind of soften the edges, and then I went back over it to not touch them because I really didn't want it to go literally edge to edge, and I wasn't paying attention. So now I'm just kind of going over all of this, and it's going to kind of put a little bit of purple in the rose gold, and it's going to put a little bit of rose gold in the purple. I'm not doing it a lot, and my paint is mostly dry except for that one little area there. Otherwise, it'll kind of take away from your effect. If everything was too wet, it would take too much paint out of some areas, and it would really change it. After this dries, I'm going to do just a couple of spots of glue. We'll use the Tack It just because it's easy and it's handy. And we'll put little streaks here and there and use the gold leaf for that as well. But you don't want to overdo it because it'll really take away from the overall look and style. So I've got my Tack It over and over. You can use this stuff for all kinds of techniques. I'm not going to put very much out right now because I don't really want to use a lot. I've got my gold foil. This just came in a kit of stuff I got from Amazon. It was like a silicone mold kit. So what I'm going to do is just find a spot that I like, and I'm going to do a spot that maybe needs a little bit of a breakup. Nice and thin. I really don't want it on there very thick. And pretty much whatever shape you paint on is the shape that it's going to stay. So kind of be mindful of that whenever you're doing your placement. I'm not going to do a ton. I keep getting off camera, y'all. I'm so sorry. I guess I have my phone turned a different direction than my norm. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Okay, so that's in the middle, that's on the bottom, that's on the bottom, a little bit on the top. We want this to dry to a tacky consistency. That's when you know it's ready, is when it's tacky. And it's clear also when it's dry enough. So like that spot right there, since it's so thin, it's pretty much ready. So is that one. Just for good measure though, I am going to hit it with my heat gun with no heat, just basically blow drying it. Let's put a little piece on the bottom too. I didn't show y'all any of the bottom. I don't love the bottom, but it's not really a focal point, so no big deal. Let's dry this. If you haven't used Tack It, you may be wondering how you can tell if it's dry or where your spots are. You can tell. When you catch the light just right, you can tell. Right there. It seems kind of weird since it dries clear, but I mean, it's not like all the way clear. If you have tweezers, this might be a little easier. Why would I do things the easy way? It's not really in my nature, I guess. We're going to brush off the excess in just a little bit. But for now, just make sure you get all those pieces on there like you want them. So it's going to look a hot mess for a minute. Like I said, we're going to look a fright for a minute. Got all my spots covered. A little pretty much goes a long way. I feel like maybe I used a couple square inches, maybe 2 inches. So I'm going to take a dry brush now, and I'm just going to brush off the excess here. I don't know why that is stuck there. I guess my paint was just enough damp. But I'm going to do that right there. If you do this with a more wet adhesive, that will kind of lay a little skinnier, a little flatter. But for what we're working with, this works. I'm probably going to find gold flakes on everything for the next couple of weeks. Everyone does this a little bit differently. This is what I've found that works for me for the few times that I've done gold flake or gold leaf, whatever way you want to call it. It works for me. Some people will use a silicone brush with a different adhesive. There's a lot of factors like personal preference, weather, material availability is a big one. I had to order that Tack It over and over when that first became like all the rage. What, almost a year ago maybe? I paid like $12 for that bottle. It's $6 right now. But I wanted it and I didn't want to wait for it and I couldn't find it in stores. So I paid for it. I figure I've spent $12 on far stupider things. So I'm just going to finish doing that. We're going to be left with a couple of little spots like that. And then I'm going to walk away and let this completely dry overnight. I've put a lot of layers of paint on here. And I want to be real thorough and make sure that I don't run the risk of accidentally trying to epoxy over damp paint. I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm probably going to regret this. But I accidentally kind of picked off a piece of the bottom layer right there. I'm like, you know what? Let's make a little bit of that part of the process. So I've got my tiny little bit of sandpaper here. Let's just kind of do a few spots where we are kind of roughing it up, bringing out that bottom. Not so much that we take that paint off, but let's let that kind of shine through just a little bit. Not a lot. I don't want it really taking over, but I like this overall look just in a few spots. I don't want a lot of it because, again, it'll change the look and it just won't be the same. A little bit of distressing never hurt anybody, right? I mean, at this time, I'm walking away. So I've got a few spots here and there. I went ahead and toned down some of my rose gold areas. Just kind of roughed it up, took down a little bit of the chunks I'm loving this. If you're not a trust the process lover, you may not like making these. Just like with that unicorn burst, it is, it's a trust the process kind of cup. So I'm going to walk away, leave it till tomorrow night. I'm going to let it dry really good. I'm going to clear coat it with matte spray paint and then let that dry completely. And then we'll do some epoxy. Here it is, all done. Hubby said, I don't like it. I was like, that's okay. He liked the other one I had going next to it more, which was a glitter swirl. So I have coated this with one coat of Mr. Nola's Speed Dry Glass Coat. Is it Speed Dry? Is it Glass Coat? Glass Coat Speed? I don't know. Anyways, Speed Dry. It is this right here. I just got it last week or so. And I'm pretty stoked. I literally coated this at 2:45, went and got groceries, ate dinner, and came back to it at just before 6. It's 6:20 right now, and I'm touching this thing like crazy. The only things that went wrong were my fault. There's a huge chunk of lint right there. That's on me. And then I had a little flake of glitter right there, or the gold flake right there. So I'm impressed with this coat, with this epoxy. But that's another video, the how to get that nice and smooth. That'll be another video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. If you like my content, please consider subscribing and turn on your notifications. I'm trying to upload once a week. I had a good strong start last year, and then I kind of fizzled off because life got in the way. But I'm trying to be better this year. I'm going to try and get my videos kind of maybe banked a little bit. So, yeah, that's it. You guys have a good one, and thanks for watching. And I've already started my fundraising for next year's Alzheimer's walk. I got on the ball ahead of the game, like I promised. That link is going to be in the description. I'll put my link tree in the description so that I can have all of that stuff in one spot. So, once again, thanks for watching. Have a good one.